Today I'm scratching my eyeball. Something just flew in it as we pushed the live button. But anyways, welcome back. Today we are playing with the 350 Legend. That is correct. Yes, sir. Alright, we got us going on Twitch. We got us a nice coffee here made up. We got a whole bunch of brass here I need to prime. And then we can click on that. There we go. Then we can go from there, pick some stuff to load and play with and all that good stuff. If I could only get this out of my eye. Yeah. I'll live. Okay. Sorry about the mess here. Doing a bunch of brass prepping and all that fun stuff. My bench is a mess, I'll tell you what. Let's knock the camera over, grab all that. I have to move this for now. It's alright, I'm just a mess right now. Anyways, fun brass stuff. Got some boxes here to load up on. Some brass to prime. Need that thing that's hiding in that drawer I can't get to. Mr. Jadkins, what is up, sir? How are we doing? Oh, there it is. Come here, primer chip flip tray. Words are hard. All right. So yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope you guys had a nice Christmas. A Merry Christmas. Whoops. You guys on break? Did you work today? Did you work Christmas Eve? Did you work on Christmas? Are you off till after New Year's? I'm going to spill these somewhere. Careful. Careful, meow. Mr. Crash, welcome back, sir. How we doing? Good to see you. Yeah, we're just playing with the old 350 Legend. Yeah. Only 87.5% is legendary. Got everything sorted by head stamp. We got some Winchester, some Sterling, and some, what is this, Browning. Then over here I got some mixed, couple Hornadies and maybe a few Federals or something. I think I'm just going to work through these Winchesters right now, though, and get 100 of those primed up. Totally gonna spill this, though. That's uneven. This hail. What's stuck on this? Oh, that's just how it's made. That's nice. Ooh, you got you a new Garmin. That is awesome. Have you used it yet? That sounds exciting, actually. Yeah, Winchester brass here. Once fired from the range, and then probably once out of the old Legend. Or out of my AR that I don't want any part of anymore. Because we got us a new bolt action. Oh yeah, that felt nice and snug there. And if you're over here on the YouTubes, you can't see what we're doing, go visit us on Twitch. You get the full experience. You can actually see the press and fun stuff. All right, yeah. Got us a Remington primer up in there. It actually felt nice and snug too. I like when range brass primers are still snug. Work has been extremely slow. Depending on your industry, it's that time of year, right? Tried it with your pellet gun earlier. That's cool. Going to the range tomorrow. So stoked to finally know what you're loading. Is that your first chronograph or just your first Doppler enabled radar. I've used the lab radar my buddy had. It was very nice, but apparently it's got some things with the app that people don't like. And I've also tried the Garmin that a different buddy had, and it was like you turn it on, you click pistol, rifle, pellet, or bow or arrow or something like that. Well, that one felt a little loose, or it don't matter though. And then yeah, you point it down range and it does its job. But yeah, the lab radar was a little more picky. The Garmin, very simple. Very simple. The only chronographs I've owned though are the the competition electronics. I think it's the DLX Pro, or whichever one has the Bluetooth capabilities. Seems to work with proper lighting conditions. It seems pretty consistent. But if it's got some overhead clouds, or you're shooting in the woods like I do, there's not a lot of direct light, or it doesn't go over the sensors properly. Gives you some issues sometimes. It's our first chrono. I only shoot at indoor ranges, because that's all you have around for 3. Damn. Glad you have something you can use. Yeah, it's definitely way better than trying to put the old bunny ear chronograph out in front of your shooting lane at an indoor range. That sounds horrible. The one I used to go to, said I was allowed to do it, but I was never, I never felt like just reaching out there while a bunch of ding-dongs are around me doing dude bro mag dumps. So yeah, the Garmin you can probably just set up right there, boom. Piece of cake. Right on the little table, I guess, in between lanes or whatever. Depending on how it's set up. Yeah. Anybody else get anything cool for the Christmas? Can't wait to haven't made a real video in a while. I think I might do one for this this new rifle we have here in the Legend. Kind of go over some of the upgrades I'm going to eventually do. Some other little add-ons. What scope I want to use on it. And well, I want to use one for, like, testing and load workup to see the real accuracy, and then probably put on like a 1:6 or 2:7 or something like that for actual use running around or whatever. Because it's hard to shoot real good groups with like a 7 power or a 4X or something. But it's also hard to, shoot inside of 50 yards and run around like a dummy with, 16X. It's too hard to get a sight picture with that much magnification that close, Afternoon on any weekday is a nightmare. Shoot some idiot up because when I backed out of your bay, I was speeded. But Jesus, yeah, people just flagging you down, waving their barrels everywhere, not, not setting the gun down and leaving it clear with the magazine out before they switch to a different gun. Yeah, pointing crap around, doing selfies and stupid crap. Public ranges are not the most fun. So yeah, if you can, go buy a few acres and build yourself a little range in the backyard. Well, we got a first-time chat from Jay Adkins again. What's up? Like this view better. Self-employed, nuisance wildlife control operator. Normally not this low. Interesting. What state is that in? You're probably out west somewhere, aren't you? Mr. Matt Flatlander ordered your first press, the Lee 0045. I know it's not the best, but it's what I can afford. Can you give any tips for mounting it? To mount your Lee press, they make a bench plate. It's kind of like a triangle with the top chopped off. And it's got a couple brackets on the sides. And that's kind of a quick release mount that you can use to switch other presses in and out, or just secure yours down. Or I think, what is that, the Challenger press or the breech lock or the classic one or something. Anyways, it might just have like 3 holes. You can probably just, drill that into your bench like, well, you can see these little screws here and all the other screws for me moving everything else 1,000 times. But yeah, just figure out how much wood you have to stick it into. Shouldn't be too difficult. If my dumb ass can figure it out, you can too, sir. But yeah, congrats. That's freaking awesome. What are you going to be reloading? What's your first cartridge? And do you have proper components as well? You're in Indiana, southeastern Indiana, 15 minutes from Ohio. Or Kentucky. Huh, so you're like way down on the tip and you can just go pick a direction and you're in one of 3 states. That's pretty cool. What is that, like Evansville or something? Or are you like even further than Evansville? East, I guess. Well, I'll be darned. Look who's in the chat there, Mr. Johnny, 1982. What's up, sir? How we doing this evening? Today we're playing with some of the legendary 87.5% of the 400. Why would they go and one-up themselves like that? That's just bad marketing. You thought this one was really good. Well, next year's release is going to be so much better. You know what I mean? Actually, I have no idea about the 400 legend. I'm sure it's a mighty fine cartridge, right? But I think it's a different bolt face and probably different magazines and more complicated than just a barrel swap, I'm guessing. You're in the opposite corner, closer to Cincinnati. Okay. Yeah, I've got family in Indiana, and I go through Evansville to get up their way. As I come through Kentucky via, what is it, I-69? Yeah. Loading 38357. You've been using the Lee loader, but it takes too long. Yes, the Lee loader, while it can produce ammunition, it takes forever. But if it's something you want to like put in your bug out stash, or maybe do a load work up at the range. If you bring a little scale with you, you can do that. But as far as rifle work, a little bit less useful because it only neck sizes. But if you're doing some kind of rimmed cartridge, 357 like you are, or 45 Colt or 44 Magnum, any of those, you can do a pretty solid load work up at the range while you're there, or at least like test up to where your pressures might begin, or see what your max charge looks like. If some of you guys have issues getting out to the range, you only go like once a month and then you get to test something. Well, that could be a way to stretch out your less miles back and forth. How about that? Words are hard. Just chilling. Good old 69, yes sir. So anybody else loading for the 350 Legendary? Like I said, I've retired the AR-15 upper, because what I mainly got this for was to shoot pretty much downloaded cast projectiles for cheap. So I'm thinking if I can do the Lee 358-200 or something with like, 8 or 10 grains of unique. I have no idea about that load data. I've never looked yet, but I'm just going to look at some cast 357 Remington maximum loads. Get some starting data there. But yeah, if I can just kind of play around with cheap bolt action, shooting some cast bullets inside of 100 yards, I think that'll be mighty fun. Which is the same thing I do with 300 Blackout. Which is the same thing I do with 450 Bushmaster. Which I don't have a bolt action for yet. That'll probably be the next one. Because I was like, wow, reloading's fun, and just kept getting new cartridges and just different AR-15 uppers basically. And well, it's fun, but with reloading you have to also make sure you can cycle the gun, which is a big part if you're running a semi-auto, of course, but it can also be troublesome and lead to headaches. And if you're doing stupid stuff like me, where I'm doing like stupid duplex loads or trying to load up big cast bullets that might bulge out the case way down here or something, that affects feeding with semi-autos, all that fun stuff. So go to a bolt action and you remove about 5 other variables. So if I can just single feed and have some fun, we'll be in business. Probably have to get into it at some point. Gonna try out hunting next year. I need a straight wall cartridge. 350 Legend seems like it would fit the bill. Yeah, I've been looking at some load data recently. It looks like, you don't have to do pissing hot, maximum pressure or whatever. If you want to do some downloaded like 147 XTPs or something like that, it's still a pistol bullet, but I guess people push those up to 2,000 plus, which is really not bad. That's pretty much the what do you say? It's like basically 300 Blackout running a like 150, 60 grain doing the same thing. A little under 2,000. But it starts at a bigger diameter. You've got roughly the same ballistics with the same weight going the same speed. And you can hold the same amount in, the same magazine essentially. And if you were suppressed, you could load up 300 grains or something silly in this compared to a Blackout. which the heaviest I've seen is like 245 grain or something like that. I think it was an Acme. An Acme cast 245 grain for the 300 Blackout. That's a big heavy bullet. But if these can shoot, you know, 250 to 300 plus at the same speed, you know, 1050, seems like this would obviously be better for subsonic use, being that it's heavier and it's a bigger starting diameter. Not doing anything stupid. It's called scientific testing. Okay, fine. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. You can even see some of my old load data there. I don't know what powder that was or what bullet we were loading. Even got some nice dings on the case head there from the old extractor or whatever. Punching that out. Pew! Ejector. There it is. It will eject the case. And if you have a lot of pressure, your case backs up into the bolt face and expands before anything else moves. So that's how you get those little extractor grooves in your case heads. Or ejector grooves. Extractors would be here on the rim. Have you heard of anyone converting 350 Legend brass to be used in a 1907 351? Sir, I'm not educated enough to know what a 1907 351 is. But as far as converting this brass to be something else, I believe they started with what's called 223 basic, which is just a 223 case head that hasn't been necked down anywhere. So this is like the starting case. So maybe somebody else used it for a different cartridge I'm not aware of. Very possible. I kind of want to be a smartass and make a wildcat where you neck this down to, you know, say a 30 caliber or something, and then you trim it to here, and then you run it suppressed, and then, wait, we're back at 300 Blackout. What about, though, hear me out, if you go to 6 mil, you have a 6x45. That thing actually has really good ballistics. I don't know why it's not a SAMI approved cool guy cartridge, you know. 6x45 would be sweet. If anyone can find a barrel for that that's not like $500, let me know. Because like I said, I took my Legend 350 Legend barrel. Well, I need to take it out of that upper, and what I want to replace it with is the 6x45. Okay, so anyways, that's the 6x45, which is up from 22. You go to 6 millimeter, 243. And then you got 25x45 sharps, which is a 257 diameter in the 223 case, right? I hear that thing's really cool too, but I don't know anything about 25 caliber stuff. But then, has anybody heard of a 223 case necked up to 6.5 diameter? What is that? What is that case called? Because if you skip 6.5 and go to 277, you've got a 277 Wolverine. And then if you go to 284, I don't know if that's a thing yet, a 284 by 45 case. No idea what you would call that. And then you go to 30 caliber, you have 300 Blackout, right? So is there a 338? So if you just barely knock that down to 338, would that be a thing? 338 by 45 and 6.5 by 45. Are these things yet? Are these things yet? Bro, I forgot. How's that garbage rod working out for you? Are you talking about the 300 Blackout Mossberg Patriot guy? Is it a Patriot? I think so. Anyways, I really enjoy it for the Blackout. 6.5 Grendel is from a, I don't want to get it confused. I think it starts as a 220 Russian, and then they turn that into like a 6 something PPC, and then you can go to your arc or your Grendel or whatever. But I don't know what they, if you neck a 223 case to 6.5. I don't know what that is, but I know it's not 6.5 Grendel. Which I actually bought a bag of brass for, and I don't even have a gun. So you guys know the rules, right? You guys know the rules. If you buy or have components for a gun you don't have, you pretty much have to buy a gun in that cartridge. So 6.5 Grendel's definitely on the list. No, the Mosin. Oh, yep, never got any luck out of the Mosin. I never made a recap or a range day with it, but I loaded all that stuff up. Actually, here, once I get done priming this, I'll get some of the brass out and we can look at one that I got rim locked. That was fun. Well, let's just say I'm -1 piece of brass. So that's really cool. So that's really cool. Mr. Paul, what's up? How we doing? Hope you are well as well, sir. Good to see you. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, by the way. No, not Happy Holidays. Only Merry Christmas. All the other holidays can suck it. And you've been studying hard, Leah? No, I just am a nerd, and this is like my only hobby, I reckon. Well, it's my most consuming hobby, at least. Most consuming hobby, at least. I also do really redundant stuff. Like as far as why I pick new guns to reload, or new cartridges rather. Like the very first thing I loaded was 38 special, 9mm, and then 223, right? Get your bases covered, get all the basic stuff done. And I was like, man, this reloading is pretty cool. What else can I do? And then, I heard about 300 Blackout, and it's like, wow, you mean all I gotta do is chop this thing I have 1,000 of just laying in the corner, and then I can use these other things that I can make for free out of this metal crap I dig out of the lead, out of the berm, and then I can shoot my AR for way cheaper. Are you kidding me? And, several years later, we're down this rabbit hole deep, brother. Sure is fun. Sure is fun. That one was tight. Some of these Winchester crimps on the primer pockets. Look how off-center that crap is. So when you go to swage or ream it, camera can't focus, but you know what I'm saying. Let's make sure we're sitting flush there. Oh yeah, it feels good. Pardon me, excuse me. Oh, thanks, appreciate it, brother. Even though I'm not from the US, it's interesting how firearms cartridges work and functions, I have to say. By the way, what cards are you putting in the black box? I just doubled here. Well, Aria, Mr. and Mrs., I can't see by the picture, sorry. Glad to have you here. This is called the 350 Legend. It is a straight wall cartridge based off of the 223 Basic, which is your 223 Remington case that everybody knows about. Anyways, it fits in an AR-15, but I just got a new bolt gun. So we are taking this brass I have already prepped and adding new primers into them so that I can then add bullets and powder and, we can create more ammunition. So where are you from? Glad to have you here. Last time we had some people from Argentina and Brazil stop in. That was pretty cool. Had a gentleman from Japan stop by. That was awesome. Blows my mind that people from across the world watch my stupid stuff, but it's pretty cool. Thanks for stopping in. I'm glad that you're not just like, oh, firearms bad, and report my account or whatever. Southeast Asia, actually. That's freaking sweet. Well, welcome aboard. Glad to have you. Rounded off some cartridge conversions like they were nothing. Well, it sounds really complex, but there's probably only like 10 cases that everything is based off of. Oh, what's up, Crash? Over on Twitch now, actually seeing what you're doing. Much better. Thanks for joining, brother. Glad to have you. Yeah, guys, if you haven't yet, you can stop over on Twitch TV/DummyRound, and you'll get the full view of the bench there to see, to better see what's going on. Hello from Australia. Welcome aboard. That's freaking awesome. Like I'm John Wayne. Good to have you here. How are you doing? What time is it out yonder way, sir? Are you like 10 hours ahead of me right now? Or is it like midday the previous day? I don't know. Sorry, I went to American public school and I'm not smart. So trying to imagine geography and the world rotating through the different time zones, I can't visualize it. Anyway, it's good to have you. Thanks for joining. What do you shoot out there in Australia? I know some of your laws and everything are very restrictive, but there's certain licenses I know you can have or get if you have a ranch or a varmint problem or whatever. But I'm uneducated on that as well, so if you want to educate us silly Americans on what it's like in Australia, I'm sure some other people would be interested. So yeah, we need to make a Wildcat with a 6.5 by 45 case and a 338 by 45. Unless those already exist. I'm sure somebody out there made something. But I haven't heard of them yet. But anyways, yeah, like there's only maybe 10 parent cartridges for every you know, modern case we're shooting these days. Except maybe the PRC cases are the newest ones. And for whatever reason, they made different ones for each PRC. So the 6.5, 7, and 300 are all different. They're not the same parent case. They're all different lengths. Maybe they're the same parent case, but the 300 is way long, the 7's shorter, and the 6.5 is even shorter. But why wouldn't you just take the really long 300 PRC and neck that one down to each, you know, diameter? They literally changed the height of each case. I bet that's so you can't be a dummy and chamber the wrong one into the wrong gun. I bet that's what they did. Or, you know, something about being proprietary and part of the marketing and royalties and whatever. I don't know. There could be 1,000 layers to it. Hard telling. It's like 12:52 in Southeast Asia. Well, what is it? 11 hours it looks like? That's cool. We're almost right on the opposite side of each other. Thought I was going to be shorter primer. Nope. Got them. I also forgot, I'm not done prepping these because they're not expanded yet. So I still have to go back and open up the case mouth on all these cases. Man, it's going to take forever. It's like starting over with a brand new cartridge, except I already did a whole bunch of testing and none of it really worked very well. Almost lost one. That would have been about, 8 cents down the drain. So there's a 5-second rule with primers, so they're good. It's all good to go, don't worry. Anyways, what are your guys' favorite 350 Legend loads? Have you done any cast loads or just the 170 grain Hornadies? Or did you try the 180 Winchesters or maybe the 165 Hornadies? I don't know. My goal originally was to have the 200 grain RCBS copy and just shoot those out of the AR as a blasting kind of plinky load, but wasn't really able to get those functioning properly through the AR action. So we're going to have to go back and revisit this with the Bolty, which unfortunately I cannot show on YouTube. I could show you guys on Twitch. I got 3 people on Twitch right now. What's up, brothers? Welcome aboard. You like 35 Remington? Sir, I'm a fan of the 35 Remington as well. Look at that. 100 primers, 100 pieces of brass. It all worked out. But I still have more. Should we keep priming or should I get to expanding? What should we do? Because all these are going to need expanded regardless of what primer I put in them. But I'm sure you guys don't want to see me do that several hundred times. That's not very exciting now, is it? Or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't mind. I don't mind. Also, what dies have you guys used? I started with this lead die set for the Legend, right? And of course, you need your case gauge to know if you're sizing properly or if the headspace is right or if you need trimmed. And the Lee sizing die would not size the base enough to let any of those pass this minimum spec gauge here. So how did we remedy that after dropping, what, 40 bucks on this die set? Well, the only way to fix anything is just spend more money, right? We went and got the Lyman MSR die set, which has a small base die made for your modern sporting rifle, which is essentially your AR-15, right? So yeah, small base die helps with chambering and functioning in a semi-auto. And it's got the individual expander cedar with a taper crimp. And then I went and bought the Lee factory crimp collet style as well. Because this round headspace is off of the case mouth, right here off the mouth, like a 9mm. So it just goes boink right in the chamber. There's no shoulder or anything. There's no belt back here. There's no extended rim. So it's head spacing off the mouth right here. And if you taper crimp that in too far, you roll that in too far, it could screw up your head space and cause catastrophic damage. So the collet die, much better for crimping these cases that head space on the mouth. And then for whatever reason, I have this spare rusty expander die. But we don't need him. Well, I got these primers out. I guess we'll just keep priming. Also, I want to just call it 9mm plus P, right? not a 350 Legend. It's just a 9mm plus lots of P. It could be P times P, right? No, P twice, not P squared. What's the pressure limit of 9mm? Like 35,000? You double that, you're way over that. Never mind. We're not going to double the P of the 9mm. It's just plus P plus plus plus. Okay, I'm just going to keep on priming. You know, it's also funny. I think it was last week maybe, or a week or two ago, I was doing the casting streaming for those sinkers, fishing weights, right? And I threw in and recycled all of the 200 grain bullets that I want to use for this project before I knew this project was going to exist. Does that make sense? I got rid of all the components and recycled them into something else because I didn't know this was going to be a thing. That's fun. They weren't bad at all. I just didn't think this was going to happen. So that's fun. Now we'll just have to cast even more of them. Fleece sucks. You know, actually, this is my only lead die set I've really had any issues with, to be honest. We're just going to keep priming. Do you think this is more than 50? This is at least 100, so I'll need the big box there. I'm going to go with the 50 pack and hopefully finish these Winchesters. Because, you know, I got to keep my brass all sorted, especially when we're doing stupid cast bullets. And the case wall thickness is different, and I'm going to be doing cast bullets, so those are going to be over diameter. I also want to try some 357 bullets, again, over diameter. So you're going to need to figure out which brass is thinner to still fit in your chamber properly without the case bulging and not feeding properly. Why couldn't they have just made it based off of a 357 bullet to begin with? Because there's not a lot of 355 rifle bullets. There's about 12 trillion pistol bullets, but no 9mm rifle projectiles. So silly. 2000 soft, man. Why'd they do that? What firearms do you own? Sir, are you a federal agent? Because unfortunately, I lost all of my firearms in an unfortunate... Yeah, I don't own any firearms, sir. No, we're talking about this new, to me, Howa 1500 chambered in 350 Legend. It is a bolt-action rifle. A bolt-action rifle. It can hold, I believe, 4 in this detachable magazine, which I can show. Which is actually cool because the 223 bolt action I used to have was an older Howa 1500 before they changed to the removable mag with the trigger guard built in and all that fun stuff. So this is the same magazine that would be for the 223. But you slide them in there, heck, boom. And they do make 10 rounders for these, so I could probably get a couple of them. And they're single stack though, so of course they'll be really long. But that's fun. So I had to also go on their website and get the scope rail for the top. It does not come with a stinking rail or, you know, ring bases or any of that stuff. You can always trim the OD of the case. You are correct, sir. I haven't ever gotten into neck turning, but if avoidable, just by changing brass, I'll prefer to do that and just have, you know, certain loads with certain head stamps. But you are correct. I've never turned my brass and I've never annealed my brass, and those are both things I believe would be beneficial in certain things we do here. I see the benefits in all of it. or, you know, the use cases. Man, these primers are satisfyingly tight. And people say you don't get any feel when you prime on the press. Well, they must have neuropathy or something, some kind of nerve damage where they can't feel their hands. Because I can tell exactly how these primer pockets are feeling. And like I said, in that other box, I was like, ooh, this one's loose. It wasn't that bad, but I could tell compared to all these others, there was a loose one. Or there was one that was looser. Like this one, slightly less pressure required, but still tight enough for a couple fire rings. Have we ever played with the 160 grain on Creedmoor? Sir, I have not. I don't own or shoot 6.5 Creedmoor, if that's what you're talking about. But 160 grain, that sucker would be like 4 miles long. I've seen the 53 grain A-tips. Those guys are monsters. Like, you know, double the case with the bullet hanging out. That's how long they are. It's crazy. Who makes 160? Yeah, 160 grain 6.5 bullet. I know the old like 6.5 Arisaka from World War II, I believe, but I don't know when it was made, probably way before that. Or the Carcano. I think those were really heavy 6.5 bullets, like 160 plus, but they were a really long round nose design. So that's probably way different than we're talking about. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's probably a Burger or a Pua. Oh, Hornady makes a 160 round nose. Okay. Okay. Interesting. But no, sir, I don't shoot any 6.5 Creedmoor. It is definitely it has its purposes, right? But me, let's go back to why I choose specific cartridges. I was thinking if I was going to do a 6.5, you know, case of that capacity and those bullet weights, I would do a 260 Remington. And you can just get a faster twist rate barrel with a proper throat for the newer bullets. But the 260 Remington is based off of the 308 case. And I have enough 308 brass to last a couple lifetimes, hopefully. So eventually one of my goals is to have all the 308 cases, but the different cartridges based off of that parent case. So far I've got a 243, which is just a 6mm 308 case. And then a 260 Remington, that's a 6.5 out of a 308 case. And then you can go, funnily enough, 277 would be the next like common diameter. And that's what the new SIG 277 Wolverine thingy Fury, no, 277 Fury. All that is a 277 diameter 308 case. So they're shooting 150 grain bullets going, you know, maybe a couple hundred feet per second faster than a standard 308 shooting 150 grain bullet. And it's just a slightly smaller diameter. Talk about reinventing the wheel, you know, 70 years later. Anyways, from there, the new SIG cartridge, you go to 708, which is 284 diameter. And of course, 308 Winchester. You go up from there. I think we're at 338 Federal. Oopsie. 338 Federal, then you go up from there. to a 358 Winchester. And all of those are based on, oopsie, not Starline. Have I been grabbing Starline this whole time? Yeah, I think all of those are the 308 cases. Except Sig Fury is 80k PSI. That is correct, but only with the steel case head bimetal cases. So if you're running standard brass, you're still limited to that 60k PSI. So you're still only going to be pushing 150 grains at the same pressure with a slightly, very slightly higher BC, because it'll have to be longer with the shorter diameter. Flathead fishing, someone asked about your short rifle. Pointed out the poly tip rounds would not stop a bear. Well, hopefully you don't have to stop any bears, but hopefully if you did, your rifle would do it. Just thought about having those a bonded A-frame. I hear those Swift bullets are quite the treat for those thick-skinned animals. Is that kind of like the nozzler partition where there's like a, you know, something in the bottom of the case and then the top half of the jacket expands and then the bottom stays together for extra penetration? Mr. John Bucketis, what's up? Welcome, sir. Well. Yeah, so if the SIG case obviously has the steel case head, it goes to 80K. But if it's brass, then again, you're limited to the 60 or 62,000 or whatever that the normal bolt head is rated for. Did I prime any Starline, or did I just grab that one? That'd be funny, right? It was just that one. Okay, sometimes we gotta keep old dummy in check here. Look, I'm gonna have like 3 extra cases that won't fit in that box. That's gonna just annoy the heck out of me. Because what's the point of sorting all the brass if you put them all in the same ammo box or ammo can and unsort them, right? I should probably put notes on them, what primers I'm using. But I'm not going to be using Magnum primers unless I have any sort of issues that would require a hotter ignition. If you know what I'm saying. But I haven't experienced that with the smaller case volume. You know, I don't think anything's going to get, you know, even close to 30 grains of powder. However, the Bushmaster running big heavy loads of 1680, some of them even compressed, like 50 some grains, that often requires a Magnum primer to properly ignite. But the Legend, much smaller case capacity, have not experienced the need for a Magnum primer. How can it even be a legendary if it's not a Magnum? Sig Fury seems like a waste to shoot reloads unless you're just blinking. Right. I mean, obviously, you'd want an ammo can of the real stuff sitting somewhere. But if I had an AR-10 in the 277 Fury, I would not have an issue blasting some, you know, FMJs at 60K PSI or whatever. And I'm sure if you really wanted to, don't take this as advice, but if you really wanted to, you could probably load your brass cases to those pressures and just know that you're not going to be able to reload them again. But you could potentially, most likely, get a firing out of a brass case like that. If you had to. Because, you know, have you heard of proofing loads? How they actually test the chambers and all that? Those are like 50%, I believe, above the specified pressure. So if our cap is 60K and you add 50% to that, you're at 90K. So if your gun's rated for 90K, you could probably get a pretty hot brass, load out of that if you had to. But that's like, I don't know at what situation that would even be warranted. We should just pull out a ballistic table and look at the ammunition and see what velocity it actually does and what distance that actually gains you, because, within probably 500 yards, your point blank holdover or whatever probably wouldn't matter at all. It wouldn't change by more than an inch or so by that change in pressure and velocity. I mean, it's great they're trying to evolve the technology. Ooh, this case head's ugly. Look at this guy. Yeah, right there. He got pulled on pretty hard there somewhere. Kind of hard to get in the shell holder, but it'll work. Yeah, see, like I'm going to have a few extra cases that I'm just going to have to sit on top, and it's going to bug my OCD. Yeah, that scares me. Will, nope for now. Yeah, definitely don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. 80K is a lot. Would the rifle even handle that? Yeah, that's what it's spec'd around. Like that's what they built it for. So it would basically be like running the real 277 would be like the Magnum load, and then running the brass case would be like running the 38 special version of it in your 357 Magnum. Oh no. They should just call it, the 270-08 plus P is what they should call it, right? I bet there's a wildcat out there like that just never got SAMI approved, but it's probably literally called the 270-08 Ackley plus P plus, I don't know, 40-degree enhanced A-frame shoulder. Let's get all the buzzwords in there. You're already 10 steps to me ahead. I can't type fast enough. I'm sorry, I'm just blabbering for the most part. Sig Fury has more drop but higher FPS than the 6.5 Creedmoor. Yeah, what would since you can fit both the 6.5 Creedmoor and a 308 in an AR-10 platform, I wonder if what was I just saying? Because I started reading and then my brain took a fart. Shit, I don't know. Started reading the chat. There's an old Wildcat that is the 270-308. See? Somebody already thought of that stuff way, way long ago. Like nothing is new. We've done it all. We've done everything. Also, what's up, Hemis? Welcome aboard. Is it Hemi Scrub or Hemi's Crub? Sorry, reading is hard. There's an old Wildcat called the 270-308. See, I think that would be cool. Then I could do 260 Remington, 270-308, 708, and then 338 and 358-08. Like for whatever reason, I want all the stupid 308 based cartridges. Ah, see, look at that. 155 Winchester cases. Whoopee! -1, it's gone. Into the abyss. Oh, man. Oh, nuts. Wait, I have one loaded. Oh, I was going to joke and say I have one loaded piece of factory ammo. This old box doesn't want to stay shut. Sorry, we're just making a mess clinking around here. Grant Williams did a video about how this was understood. Yeah, it's look at that guy. Yeah, we got one piece of brass left. One brand new factory ammo, which also happens to be Winchester. With a bullet weight, I'm unable to reload because they don't sell this bullet to reloaders. They have the 180 grain PowerPoint, I think they call it, but they don't sell these or their 145 FMJs. So that's somewhat silly. You know, they made the cartridge and then they don't supply the components to reload it, right? Hemi Scrub. Welcome, sir. Had it right the first time. Okay, good. Their chart claims otherwise, but we have shot both at 1,000 yards. 30 drop on the 6.5 and the 6.3. What's it? 32. What is this? Is it actually 150 grains for the Sig Fury? Because I kind of just made that number up as far as the bullet weight goes. But I feel like they would pick something heavier than a 130, which is this old school 270 velocity. So I was kind of making shit up as I was going along, but I feel like that's the new modern 270 grain weight, right? Or maybe 265s. There's like an Abler or something. Right. Poor and bruised of spirit, Mr. How are we doing? What you doing, sir? We are working on some 350 Legend brass right now. We are fully prepped. We are adding in primers. Supply chain issues is Winchester's excuse. Sir, they've had 4 years to figure this out. Speaking of supply chain issues, have you guys, I'm sure this is old news by now, as far as the primers go, but the White River Energetics, you've probably seen those large rifle primers out for a while now. I've not tried any of them. Supposedly they're, you know, on par with the CCI. They're also domestically produced, right? How cool is that? Same company is apparently going to start producing their own powder here in the States as well. So that'll be awesome if they don't just throw all that at the ammunition loaders, the OEM guys. If they send that to the reloading market, that would be cool. But I'm guessing they're just going to flood, you know, well, get flooded by government contracts, by OEM loaders, and all the canisters and all that will be their main form of business, and then they'll slowly, you know, crap out $60 pounds of their Varget clone. But they'll start at $5 lower. They'll sell out for a few months so their name gets known, and then they'll increase their price. So that's we have a new powder supplier, but it's not going to be any cheaper, I don't think. Especially when nobody can get nitrocellulose. I think there might be 1 or 2 plants in the States that can produce it, but compared to, well, this is a good one. It'll fire foam right out, fellers. Don't you worry. What were we saying? Nitrocellulose production. Compared to what we used to buy from China, the amount of nitrocellulose produced in the States is like a single-digit percentage. So even if we have a new company producing powder, who's to say that they'll have the component to make the component? Right? Right? Sig Fury at 135 grains. 6.5 was a Hornady 140 ELD. Okay, so that kind of explains why the 6.5 was still moving faster further out or had less drop, I guess, the lighter bullet would lose energy faster and start falling. Is that right? Physics are hard. I don't really know. In my brain, that sounded good. Powder pills, especially primers, are an issue in Australia. Even though we make powder, our primer situation is worse than yours. Usually gets looked after first, it seems. So yeah, Mr. Lugie, good to have you from Australia. Don't you guys, you have, I don't know what the plant is called, but that's where all of the Hodgdon extreme powders are from, like your 4350s and Vargets and Rotumbos. All of those extruded temperature stable stick powders. Those all come from Australia. Is that ADI? I can't remember. So you guys don't have, there's no primer manufacturers there in Australia. Interesting. Because, you know, 4 years ago, the U.S. market dried up completely. And then at the same time, Biden shut down the importing of components and ammunition. So, well, from Russia specifically, which is where Wolf and S&B and some of those companies were coming from originally. So we didn't get any imports for a couple years because they had to send them through other countries and do different paperwork and wait for other customs and then sit on boats out in the bay for 4 months again, or 6 months to a year. You know, guys, the whole thing. It's all silly. It's all games. You can't take the guns, but you can limit the supply of stuff to feed them with. That'll teach those silly, poor-ass peons. I feel like every live stream I get a little more tinfoil hat. A little more of it comes out. I'll say that. I've had the tinfoil hat on for a long time, but I try not to get too political. But damn it, I think we're past that point. So, tinfoil hats, welcome aboard. Good to have you guys. ADI powders. Hell yeah, I got it right. It's about to be a Trump slump. Dude, I really hope so. It seems like the guns for sure have been on sale and like the firearms themselves are cheap. But ammunition and components are still the bottleneck in the situation, right? And if you've noticed, there's been, since the past however long, all these different mass events and attacks and shootings and such. Ooh, that one felt loose. We haven't heard one time anybody say, let's take the magazines, let's take the high capacity things, let's ban the assault rifles. You know, you only hear that around election time, but during the past 4 years with all the school shootings and whatnot, not once did they say, let's take the guns, because they know we don't have any fucking ammo. Or most people don't have ammo, right? Or know that it's very cost prohibitive. Wait a year, 2 tops, prices should come down. When they do, you better stock up. Yes, sir. Always stock up. Fingers crossed. Yes, sir. Have 10 bottles of H4350 I hoarded back in 2020. Heck yeah. Hope it stays good. Dude, you should be able to store that stuff for like 100 years. Just keep it out of the sunlight and keep moisture away from it. But it can be in hot or cold weather as long as it's not wet and it's not in the sun. So if you have to store it in a shed, you know, that's fine. If you have to keep it in your garage, that's fine. Just keep it out of the sunlight and out of moisture. But don't seal it in an ammo can or something with a gasket that actually would contain the pressure. Because if it were for some reason to combust, you know, you basically have a bomb. Prices are up, say 50% here. Can't see them ever going down. How much is, do you guys use pounds in Australia? What is a pound of powder costing you? So I think right now, you know, Varget, that's like the hot rifle powder pretty much everybody uses. 60, 65 bucks right now. What is that equivalent to in AUD? Is that the Australian dollar? Don't have a 300 Win Mag anymore. Why not? Mr. Woody Wood, welcome, sir. How's it going? You could use a 40-50 and 308 and 6.5. I know you can use it for heavy 308 stuff, but I've never used it. I know it's on the slower burning end for that cartridge, but I've heard it's pretty much the powder for 6.5 Creedmoor or 6.5 anything, really. A kilogram of Varget. To a constantly under attack is a worry because our politicians copy yours, and yours sometimes try to copy ours. Yeah. Yeah, they, I've heard that argument a lot. Like, yeah, but Australia, they just said they were going to turn them all in, and everybody was like, yeah, cool, we're just going to do it. I don't think it was that easy. There was hopefully a lot of mass non-compliance. A lot of stuff didn't get registered, I hope. But yeah, I hope none of that crap comes over to the states. Although there are some individual states that have really crappy storage type laws where, you know, you have to keep it locked in a safe if you have any children in the home or whatever. And your safe has to be bolted to the floor and it's got to, you know, be permanently attached and so on and so forth. Silly ass laws. $80 for a kilogram of Varget. Holy moly. UK TV license policing always makes me laugh. And then I cry because it's real. Oh my god, I've seen the memes. But like stealing the television signal. Oh. They just gotta have their taxes and license fee collected. What would they do if they didn't know what you were watching in the privacy of your own home with your own family doing whatever the hell you want to? Check that, maybe 160. Holy crap. Let's back up though, because I'm an ignorant American. How much is a kilogram versus a pound? I don't know the conversion rate there. Oh yeah, and the camera system to charge you for yeah, your pollution machines are destroying the atmosphere. Don't even get me started on the green scam. Oh my god. I could probably rant about every single thing in society. Don't get me started, boy, I'll tell you what. Or do it. Might be entertaining. I don't know. Let's just not get kicked off the progressive YouTube because I don't know what I would do if my channel got banned. Probably wouldn't be able to have these nice fun discussions with you fine people. I guess we're going to keep priming. That's 45 Starline cases. It looks like we'll have not as many as the Winchester, but enough to have to awkwardly do a partial box afterwards. 2.2 pounds to a kilo. Okay, so that's really not too bad. So 65 bucks times 2 is 130. So 2 pounds, 13 would be 10%. So we're talking 156 bucks for 2.2 pounds Varget USD. There we go. I think powder might even be the same. We're gonna have to break it down per grain or something. But loose math, a kilo, well, per weight, it seems to be about the same price. I really hate how this is just precariously balanced up here, about to fall off. You guys on YouTube can't even see what's going on. Which is unfortunately the way it has to be, because I get in trouble if you see production of sinker weights, right? Sinker weights. Primer trays give me anxiety. Bro, tell me about it. Like, I thought it was flat. I'm not going to try and tip it, but you can see it's got this indentation going on the backside there, so it's not sitting squarely on my precariously balanced cliff ledge thing. At least you guys will get a nice laugh if I spill the other 98 primers I got left there. All right. Ooh. You know, actually, I'm pretty sure I have a kilo of powder here in the cabinet. We have kilos in the U.S. They come in brown packets. Sir, I thought you guys in Michigan had other drugs. Not just Michigan, hell. Aren't more than half, or probably over 30 of the states, you know, legal or recreational or whatever the hell now? Then you got some states like, what is it, Colorado and Oregon and a couple of them. They just said all drugs are good. You can do whatever you want. That is just blows my freaking mind. But if you want to see the downfall of society, that would probably be a great way to start it. That would be a great way to start. Someone in the UK was asking for US flour to make biscuits. Someone sent him a kilo wrapped in foil and tape. That's funny. Mr. Woodywood, have we gotten a deer with the 400? Sir, unfortunately, I've only gone hunting like 5 times in my life and never got anything. And this is also the 350 legend, which is why we're only 87.5% of the 400. So I've never 400 and I've never deered with the 400 either. Unfortunately. Maybe someday, you know. That would be funny. Just pour all the flour in a Ziploc and then just run like 50 laps of duct tape around it. That'd be funny. Then you could just slap like you know, Aunt Jemima's sticker or something onto it. No, wait, she makes syrup, not biscuits. Or does Auntie J make syrup? So I gotta tighten my shell holder. Could be giving us inconsistent primer depth seating. The amount of crush on our primer anvils could be varying the amount of height between our bullet base and the top of the primer which could in turn cause inconsistencies with our internal ballistics. So it's very important to prime very consistently. Or so I've heard from other guys that have a shit ton more money and experience than I do. So I use my $10 Rand Prime and just slam them home until it don't go no more. Hey, you have a good night, sir. Thanks for stopping in. We will see you next time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now we have some more people in here. Who got the best gift for Christmas? Or who gave the best gift? Did you guys wow anybody? Did you guys wow anybody, or did you just buy crap for yourself? Run up credit card debt because you have an empty hole in your life and you need to fill it with material objects. Which there's nothing wrong with. If it goes bang, you know, I can't complain there. No, I got my parents. I fixed their security camera system so it actually works now, and they can monitor it from their TVs and record and clip it and all that fun stuff. So that was pretty cool. That was cool. Didn't get shit, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, I pretty much buy myself crap throughout the year. I don't need a specific day to whatever. And I also don't expect anything from anybody, so unless I'm Santa for me, not too worried about it. Not too worried about it. And I've got a birthday really close to Christmas, so it always kind of just got lumped up together, which has never been a big deal either. Then you got New Year's right after that. Hope I can financially recover from what I'm about to do. Bro, you got this shit. You wouldn't be able to get to where you're at if you weren't able to get to where you're at. Right? That's like defining the word with the word. Do we know the purpose of small primers? You have a few boxes of Hornady Custom that use tiny... so 350 Legend actually all use small rifle primers. I would actually be interested to see some with large, because you wouldn't have a whole lot of meat left on the case head. But I'm fairly certain that it should be a small primer in, you know, most cases. Mr. James Pollard, welcome aboard, sir. How are you this evening? Hope you had a Merry Christmas. Doing well. Today we're just playing with the old 350 Legend here. I'm priming all this brass even though I haven't expanded the case mounts yet. So we'll see what we want to do after we get them primed. Because I've also got some 9mm stuff to... Well, I need to load like 10 rounds of 9mm for testing and function purposes. Oopsie. Because I went a little crazy on Black Friday and got some 92 grain frangibles for 9mm. So I got to test those out, find some load data for that. And at the same time, last week or 2 weeks ago before Christmas, we cast up a bunch of the Lee 356-95, which is a 380 mold. but I'm going to be using that for 9 mil. So although those bullet weights are very similar, the frangible bullet is the size of a 147 grain 9 mil bullet. So the 95 lead is about, 60% of that. So they're going to have different, words are hard. The case capacity differences will be such that I should probably not use the same load and start different loads with them. Or just find the max and send it. Who knows? That case feels dirty. Still got Sharpie on there. I need to wet tumble these. There's like 10 notes written on this thing. You got a Pollard in the chat. What up? I hope you're doing well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for asking. It's Friday. Had a short work week. Went in yesterday and Friday. Well, Thursday, Friday. So somehow in these Starline brasses I've got like 30 brand new pieces I've never fired. And then the rest I probably went a little over pressure in some of the AR loads I tested. So I need to figure out which ones of these are new and potentially segregate those. What you saying? Better put on that tinfoil. Oh, goddamn. I have to... YouTube is silly because it defaults the chat to be the top rated message that it shows me rather than showing all of the chat in the order. So I apologize if I haven't read your comment, but I saw it over there on the monitor. I did not see it over here on the broadcasting device. There we go. Yes, put on your tinfoil hat. I'm letting stuff slip out every once in a while. James, do you shoot the 350 Legend? I cannot remember if that's one that you do or not. And the last time you were talking about your Grendel, I think, or maybe I was talking about the Grendel, and you just said that you were doing that as well, or had done it. I don't know. I have approximately too many projects going on. Wouldn't it be cool if we could just not have to work every single day and do some recreation maybe every once in a while? All right, there's some Starline. Yes, beautiful. These are apparently way thinner in the case necks than the Winchester. Got one more 100 pack, but I'm not going to need that. Or maybe I should do the 100. No, we'll just finish these in this, and then I'll keep those for later. You don't have a 350. Sir, it appears you need a new gun. Or maybe you should get the 400 Legend and tell us all about that. Ooh, see, yeah, this is one of the new ones. We can tell by the clean primer pocket, and there's no soot on the inside. I'm really not too worried about it. These are all going in the bolt action now, so I'm going to let them all pretty much fire form to that chamber. And, well, see, I've got the little mini lathe trimmer. I need to get the correct pilot. But I'm going to keep them all eventually at the maximum trim length, so they all have the exact same headspace. But for now, I've just got to get everything fired through the gun so it can kind of blow out to that chamber. I'm just guessing it. Almost lost one. I'm guessing it'll be a little bit tighter than the Bear Creek. Speaking of Bear Creek, I know they get a lot of hate, but they just came out with a 4.5-inch 300 Blackout upper. I think I need that in my life. Well, yeah. But the real solution to fixing my current problem would be to get one of the Law Tactical folding stock adapters. That's my real solution, not getting a new upper. I need to do a video about that too. I made a dang backpack gun. I made a new backpack gun, but it's about 2 inches long right now. So I have an option to either get a shorter upper or barrel and install that, or a folding adapter so I can chop it in half. You want a BCA lever? Are they making a lever gun, dude? That would be cool. I saw they just did the bolt action uppers. That's pretty crazy. I think they actually did 350 and 450. 350 Legend and 450 Bushmaster with the freaking bolt action AR upper. That's crazy. It's gotta be weird though. I understand why some people might want it. Actually, I really understand it a lot. Basically having a magazine fed bolt action without having to buy an expensive chassis or anything like that. That's pretty sweet. But it just seems weird. Has anybody ever seen that 50 BMG upper? That guy looks funny. It's a bolt action, but the upper is actually considered the firearm. Because you have to have, it's a weird thing, but it would be sweet and funny. Single shot 50 BMG upper receiver. That's funny. The lever takes the AR upper. That's pretty sweet. I think maybe I saw that at last year's SHOT Show highlights or something. Somebody was making a cool low receiver or something with a lever action. Thinking about that, but the darn thing is like $3,500. Yeah. Yeah. And it's still just a single shot. And you have to, not like it matters, but since it's considered a firearm on its own, you have to do a background check and transfer for that. Even though it's just an upper receiver, it's still serialized for some reason. I'd be interested in a bolt action upper in 6 or 22 arc. That would be pretty cool, actually. That would be pretty sweet. And it would be really cool if they did the Mauser style just straight pull instead of, you know, working a bolt like this. If it was just, they kind of changed where the charging handle was or something, and you could just straight pull the upper, the bolt gun upper, I guess. That would be sweet. That would be sweet. Have it in your midway cart right now. What, the 50 BMG upper? Sir, you crazy. You crazy, sir. Although, I wouldn't judge you if you got it. In fact, I'd be impressed, rather. Cool, so this one will have like a few empty spaces in this box. So that'll be nice and awkward. And then I'll have like a partial box of those left. So that'll be awkward. Oopsie. I have more brass than I thought I had. Just wait for your birthday discount, Johnny, and then go for the Midway. Just get that birthday discount. Which they didn't give me this year, actually, now that I think about it. I don't remember getting that email or seeing it when I was logged in. Do they still do birthday pricing at Midway? Because I always look at their prices and they always have stuff in stock, but they are not cheap. So they're always on my radar, but I very seldomly order from them. Unless I'm getting that birthday discount, then I'll kind of look at my wish list. And I used to do that. 2 or 3 times I got the birthday discount. They didn't give it to me this year. Mr. Larry Potterfield at Midway, USA. Maybe there were supply chain issues, so they quit giving birthday discounts. Sorry, yeah, I'm just being sarcastic. But they didn't give me the discount. Or I didn't see it available. Sorry. No, the bolt action 22 made by, what the hell the name? Give me a second. We'll just go look at your cart, bro. It'll be right there. That one felt a little sloppy going in there. All right, so Starline, we've got 138 pieces. Cool. Winchester was 155 pieces. Cool. And then I've got like maybe 50 pieces of Browning here. I guess we'll go ahead and load them up. And then these are like maybe Federal or Hornady or whatever didn't match anything else. Alright, yeah, we'll go ahead and do them. Might as well while we're here. Has anybody used the MagTech primers yet? They've been flooding the market for the past 2 months. And I grabbed a case of the small rifles and the small pistols, but I have not used them yet. Probably shouldn't have just thrown that cardboard thing away so I could put the remainder of those back. But I've got one there. We're good. No worries. No worries, man. These are the Browning head stamps, which are really ugly. There's just like a deer skull imprinted into it or something. You know, that ugly Browning logo. Oh, God. And that primer felt gross. Primer pocket. These are also from the range. Okay, yeah, that one felt better. Maybe a little further in there. The Honey Badger. Yeah, you can just do a 300 Blackout pistol for like, you know, not $1,000 and have a pretty Gucci AR and not have to do the SBR thing and pay for their name brand. But some people have to get that name brand Gucci bag, yo. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different Honey Badger. It's a 223 mag-fed bolt gun. That sounds insane. I would like a belt-fed 223 upward. Have you seen those before? That would be pretty silly. But yeah, sorry, I thought honey badger was the Q honey badger was that really short 300 blackout suppressed SVR thing they did. That's what went through my mind when I heard honey badger. Apparently they make other stuff. Look it up when you get a minute. That's probably the smart thing to do. I will have to look that up. A mag-fed bolt action. So it's like your favorite Mossberg Patriot? Why don't you just get another Mossberg Patriot? They're only like $400. You could get you know, like 11 of them for the same price. I bet there's a dealer that would even give you a bulk discount. Oh, you want how many of these? Buy 10, get one free. No. No Mossberg Patriot for Johnny. Rather have a Ruger. See, I would probably also rather have a Ruger. It's definitely, well, I don't want to say definitely, but come on now. I'm running out of space here, dude. Jesus. Yeah, whenever I finally do the 450 Bushmaster bolt action, I will probably go for the Ruger American at that point. Because that one is also fun in the AR-15, but I feel like it's one of those that would also be a little more fun with a bolt gun when you don't have to worry about cycling the action. You could load up, you know, 500 grainers, or you could load up 160 grains, or whatever those really tiny semi-wide cutters are, or anything in between, and you could actually load them hotter than your AR-15 due to the bolt face. So bolt action 450 Bushmaster seems like a good time to me. Seems like a good time to me. Did everyone leave the chat? That's very possible. Did YouTube kick everybody? If you're here, just say hello and we'll say hi to everybody in the chat. Make sure to hit the likey button so that other people can see that I'm doing things YouTube doesn't like. Which, just to note here, is completely legal where I am here. And if they didn't want people in other countries to see it, which is their argument, is that other people could learn things, they could use their highly sophisticated algorithms to simply not show this content to people with IP addresses outside of this country. Right? Wouldn't that make sense? But instead, they just make it inaccessible for everybody. So there's that, you know, we have that going for us. Although maybe I should do like the Mr. Beast thing and do like a Spanish channel and a Russian channel. And I'll just copy my 1,000 videos into 15 different languages and make 15 different channels. And then we beat the system by taking up Google's bandwidth, right? That'll show them who's boss. Take up all their bandwidth with my shitty short videos and 720p resolution. I do appreciate you guys hanging out though, even though I have this crappy potato webcam, or I'm just usually on my phone most of the time. So hopefully I provide either a little bit of entertainment or perhaps some education, because it's certainly not for the production quality. So I do appreciate you guys hanging out through all that fun stuff. Still here, but the eyes are getting heavy. Hey, all good, sir. Hello, Hemi. Appreciate you guys. Dude, I've owned two 223 bolt guns and both sucked. The Ruger boat paddle from Mossberg. Both had issues extracting, and the Ruger was a 1 in... Really? A 1 in 12? That's freaking... That's like old school. That's interesting. I had actually I saw an AR-15 barrel recently with a 1 in 12 twist, but I have not seen a modern production bolt action with a twist that slow. That's crazy. Huh. Might work well for the CMMG conversion kit, maybe. Because when I use that in my 1 in 7s, those things go freaking everywhere. Like a 2-foot group at 50 yards, maybe. Pretty disgusting, honestly. But then if I go out of a 1 in 9, it's, you know, probably shrinks the group by half. By half. So your 2-foot group turns into a 1-foot group. Because a 1 in 9 twist is still incredibly fast for a 22 long rifle. Oh boy, so there we have the mixed Browning. Only 37 of those, it looks like. We've got 4 Federals and 2 Hornadys left. Still need to expand all these case mounts. But I don't think I'm going to do all of them. I'm going to do the ones I'm going to load as I load them. So what should we load up? Oh, also, if you're going to look for another 223 bolt action, I can highly recommend the Howa 1500. That was the one I previously had. Traded that for the, long story short, I don't have the Howa 1500 in 223 anymore, but that would put pretty much any 55 grain bullet into an inch or less at 100 yards. Like I had pulled, you know, crappy pulled FMJ blems, whatever, mixed brass, mixed primers, loaded on a progressive press with whatever random powder charge. It would shoot those into an inch all day. Switch to the Hornady 55 grain soft points. Those are like 3/4 of an inch. With no woodwork up, I'm sure we could do a lot better if we tried, but straight out of the gate, I was quite impressed, and the bolt was super smooth. Trigger was like, wow, that's nice. But does it use AR mag? It does not. Are you looking for it to use an AR mag? Or you want it to not use an AR mag? Because the new Howas, I can't show you the whole gun because YouTube's silly, but the new Howas, they have detachable mags, so you can get 5 or 10 rounders for the Howa. Yes, sir, I need AR mags. Oh, man. You know, the Mossberg in 300 Blackout, if I use the 10 rounders, it's awesome. If I go up to a 30 rounder with 300 Blackout, it's so heavy and it just doesn't sit properly, so then it gets hard to feed. But if I stick with the 10s, it is of no issue. All right, who wants to see me spill these primers trying to get them back in? Should be fun, right? Oh, buddy. Nice. That one's okay. That's the box I need for these. Freaking dummy. Make sure not to touch your primers with dirty hands or gloves because you could contaminate them and cause misfires. Come on. This is either the most exciting part of the stream so far, or perhaps the, whoopsie. Yeah, the opposite of exciting. Shitballs. I guess we'll take a look at some bullets and see if we could load up a couple test rounds. Come on, where are these remainders at? Go in the hole. You too good for your home ball? Yeah, I wanted to get it in, I just couldn't. Okay, there we go. Also, sorry for the bad Adam Sandler quotes back before he was, back when he was actually somewhat funny. Okay, this one's full, this one's not. We gotta, right, open. So I know to use that one first. Is that an AI mag? AICS, ACIS? I don't know. Is that the form factor they call it? They actually have it stamped for 350 Legend that I noticed. Actually, I just noticed that. Is that an AICS mag? Right. I'm sure the follower's fine because it's a single stack, but it seems like some cheap plastic right now. But yeah, I'm sure it's all good. But yeah, I should get a couple 10 rounders for the extended capacity. Extended capacity 10 rounders. All right, let's take a look at a couple of bullets here. I have to move crap. As you can tell, I'm a highly organized dummy. Everything is perfectly in order. What bullets? I guess it's really not that hard to pick. We have the V2 bullets. 170 grain Hornady or the 165 grain FTX. We also have a couple random full metal jackets for 9mm. And what do we have here? Some cast things I need to try out. Ooh. Oh yeah. If we rewind about 2 or 3 years when I was talking about doing duplex loads, look at this. Look at that. Think about 2 of them little suckers. And if I can find load data for a 200 grain load, that should be a good starting point for a 190 grain duplex load, right? Because that's not a whole lot bigger than the 200 grain RCBS, right? So that could be fun. That's one thing I'm wanting to actually work on. Something about 30 rounds of a bolt gun makes my pants tight. Sir, I concur. I do agree with you. I am on the same page about the tightness in the pants due to the capacities, yes. Then yeah, I've got some random, oopsie, I got some random full metal jackets we can try. And these are those weird frangible ones I was talking about. These are these are 92 grains, but it's like a polymer copper matrix thing they call it. But they're super light and they just go pop and explode on your steel. It's supposed to be good at close ranges and whatever. They were cheap as hell, so these are also 355 diameter. So I could try those in a Legend. Like 2 grains of tight group or something. Have you seen the channel about all black powder? What's that dude? What's him called? What's he called? Everything Black Powder? Black Powder Reloading? I think it's called Everything Black Powder. I know who you're talking about. That guy's a freaking baller. Yes, he definitely seems legit. I did download his hour-long version of how he creates his black powder for archiving purposes. Seems like some good information to have. Although I don't plan on having to make it anytime soon, it sounds like fun. All right, we are done priming though. I guess we'll have to start doing some case mouth expansion. I meant to pick up a box of factory ammo to get the legend zeroed with, and maybe get a baseline as far as accuracy, potential, and whatnot, but didn't grab that on the way home today. I guess we'll just expand some of these case mouths for now. Oh, also, if you don't have one of these, you should get one. Primer pocket go, no-go gauge. Tells you if your primer pocket is blown out to where putting a new one in would just fall out, or whether or not it has a crimp ring that needs removed. It'll tell you all them things. Which is useful information to have. Especially if you have a lot of range brass like I do. Like all these Winchester cases. For whatever reason, Winchester crimps the 350 Legend stuff. That's silly to me. Okay, let's use the Lyman shell holder with the Lyman dies. I don't think it really matters. Actually, I'm sure it matters somehow. Or maybe it would matter if you set your die up with one shell holder and then for some reason switched shell holders but kept the die setting the same. If I can get this out without spilling everything. Where'd my little poking stick go? There we go. Oh, we got cut off. Yeah, why'd they do that? I don't know. Maybe because it, well, I bet, just a random guess, the tooling setup that they have, they just use the same, like half of the tooling for their 223 or Blackout, and they just run the other case head through it as it primes through that step. I'm sure that they prime and crimp and then go on to the next step like that. So it probably goes through the same tooling that's already set up for crimping. If that makes sense, right? Mr. Luigi, have a good night, sir. Thanks for hanging out. And stay safe over there in Australia. Good day, mate. That was probably retarded. Sorry. Yeah, they probably either did it because it shared the tooling or because it's like, yeah, this works in your AR, and AR cartridges get crimped so they don't get backed out into your action or something. I don't know. Reloaded some 35 Remington for your buddy the other day, and the Winchester cases had crimped primer pockets. That's weird as hell. I also forgot to get the expanding die while I grabbed the, that's the cedar. I grabbed the shell holder, but not the die. Also, fun to note, this is the same expander they use for like your 38 357. So that's fun. Yeah, shell holder. Another reason I want these all to grow and stretch to the same trim length is because they're going to get expanded different amounts. Because one with a longer case is going to engage the expander sooner, thus getting more of a flare, whereas the shorter cases won't engage at all and will get far less to little flare at all, little or none. So I have to either start with some short brass or just hope I get it dialed in after a few pieces, which is what I'm going to aim for. So yeah. And usually I like to do this before priming. And it's not like there's a huge safety issue if you don't, but in my mind, I feel like it's part of the brass prep while priming goes straight into loading. But now I'm primed and now I'm going back to this other step before powder. So in my mind, the order of operations is slightly backwards. And so this is like, it is the Lyman M die. It not only flares the case, but it will eventually open up this entire little bit here to make a pocket for the bullet to sit into. So let me get a real projectile here that we can actually make sure we're getting set up with properly. And by the way, don't these purty? Hornady do make some fine bullets. And there's also something about that traditional soft point I really like, where everybody's like got them fancy glowy plastic tips. What the hell went wrong with soft point? They've been flying through the air and shooting groups for hundreds of years now, son. Not maybe a little over 100 years. Shrimp on the bobby. Was that in reference to my really crappy Australian accent? I bet he just totally blocked me and ignored me after that. I hope so, because that was dumb. Yep. Just getting some more flare on there for you. But you don't need a whole lot when you're dealing with jacketed bullets, but when you're using cast, you need to make sure to get a little extra out there. I got some with the same profile and 30 cal 150 grains. Might be able, but they'll do the job. Did you see? I think that's the one they did an anniversary bullet or something. That was their very first. I think that was Hornady's very first bullet was the 30 cal 150 grain soft point. And they put out little 25 packets of it this year you could get for a few bucks. Ooh. So this is probably actually sufficient expansion, just enough to get that started. But I'm going to go just a little bit more because, like I said, if any of the case lengths are different, might not cover enough. It sure do feel good because you don't want to overdo it. I'll just run a few and check them as I go. These probably won't fit in here though. Well, they'll be a little tighter as the mouth goes in there. Those look main delicious. Mr. Patriot Preacher, welcome aboard, sir. What are we loading tonight? Not sure if we're going to actually get to any loading, but we are working on some 350 Legend right now. We just primed up our brass. We are working with Winchester cases. We threw some Remington primers in there. And now I'm expanding the case mouths so that they'll be ready whenever I actually decide to start loading. Oh yeah. That felt pretty good, but not too pretty good. Are you a shooter of the 350 Legend, sir? Are you a fan? Because I was once a fan, and then I shunned it away, and now I'm a fan again. Kind of reminds me of that old Mitch Hedberg quote. Yeah, you guys ever heard of Mitch Hedberg? He was a stand-up comedian who died of a drug overdose back in the 90s, I believe. Okay, let me get these lock rings set so I quit changing my settings. Anyways, yeah, one of the Mitch Hedberg jokes, he was famous for his one-liners. He didn't have any really long, elaborate stories or anything, but he would just shit out one-liners night after night. Anyways, I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to too. That's the joke. And that's what I was trying to say about 350 Legend. Anyways, crap's really funny if you've not seen it. Mitch Hedberg is and always will be quoted in my daily life. Hell yeah. Okay, perfect. I think we're set. I've actually not watched any of him in a really long time. But he was just coming up when I was like Chris Farley was getting big. Not physically big, but his popularity was growing. Anyways, check out Mitch Hedberg if you like stupid one-liners. $350 Legend versus $300 Blackout. Cast your vote now. $300 Blackout. $300 Blackout for shout. No questions asked. You know, we just gotta. Oh, I like 35 Remington up here in northern Maine. So seeing 350 Legend and 360 Buckhammer interest you. Do you have, well, obviously not. If you're using the 35 Remington, you obviously do not have any sort of straight wall restrictions, I take it? Oh, yeah. Okay, so where we're set, you can barely see how it's got this little shelf kind of down to here where it's expanded the whole mouth of the case, not just flared the edge, but we have a pocket to set our projectile in. So that supposedly aids in concentricity and helps, evenly seating your bullets and reducing scraping of the jackets and so on and so forth. No straight wall restrictions. See, me neither. I have absolutely no use for this cartridge other than I want to eventually shoot cheap cast loads in my backyard for fun. So it's essentially a different shape 300 Blackout for me. Because I'm not hunting with them. I'm not shooting suppressed. I'm just going to be shooting low pressure cast loads within 50 to 75 yards at steel. So it'll do literally anything I need it to. And I can play around and do stupid crap like the duplex loads we mentioned. Or just something really heavy. Or I want to actually do like 2 or 3 buckshot balls. 35 cal buckshot balls in there. That would be kind of fun to see what happens. Did we expand that one? We did now. Has anybody ever seen that? Buckshot loads? That could be fun. Or horribly catastrophic. I don't know. But I'm going to tell myself it'll be fun and then we'll try it out someday. Also, while I was researching, the 200 grain Lee bullet, that's the copy of the RCBS, I ran across a thread that same 200 grain bullet in 9mm out of a PCC with like 1.5 grains of something. That's not a lot of powder. Oh wow, see, this case must have been freaking really long. You can see the trumpet on it. Wow. Gross. I love cast loads. Me too, dude. That's like 95% of what I do as he holds the jacketed bullet on screen, right? Wow, that's gross. Ew. These were all within trimming spec, so I guess that one just, oh, it's also, well, that's the Starline in my Winchester box. That don't match. I'll set him up here for now. Don't let me forget the Starline case. Weird. But yeah, I think I have some appropriately sized buckshot that we can try in this. I might have to run them into the 355 sizer die, but that might only knock it down a couple thousandths or so. So I don't want to make them ovular, but if I have to size them down to not deform the case, I will do that. Probably try and start with just 2 little balls and then add a third one if I can. And then whichever one's sitting up here, I'll leave like a little dome, kind of a round nose, so then only half of it will be seated, and then you'll have 2 maybe going this deep in the case. So there should be a little capacity left. We won't know until we get there. And I'll have to figure out which brass is the thinnest, because the thick brass obviously will probably cause chambering issues. But that should be fun to try out. You've seen duplex loads. I forget where I originally saw them or heard of them, but it always sounded like, obviously it's going to be horrible accuracy, and it's just, you know, blasting buckshot around basically out of a rifle barrel. But it'll be fun, damn it. And inside of maybe like 30 yards or something, you might get 2 hits next to each other. All things we can eventually test. That could be a pretty sweet, maybe like a close range deer load or something if you're in a stand and something walks right underneath you. Boom. Triple round ball pellet to the back. Bambi ain't going nowhere. Except in my belly. Bought myself one of the new Lee bullet seating micrometers for Christmas. That's freaking sweet. I've seen those. Which one did you get? Are there a few different ones, or how does that work? Or is it just pistol and rifle, essentially? Which would, I guess, just be the how tall the die body is, I guess. Elaborate, because those were pretty good priced, and you know, I might just put one on every single lead die I have left. I guess they were like 15 bucks, maybe. Ooh, good catch. Now I'm looking at all of them, making sure I don't have Starline mixed in. Dummy. Yes, pistol, rifle, and large rifle for 35 caliber and above. Okay, cool. That makes sense. I bet yeah, different different sizes of the body of the die, essentially. And then I guess do you just take, or you keep the same seating stem and you just put the micrometer on top of that, I'm assuming. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let me actually write on the notes. Primer type. Remington. 7.5. I'm really bad about taking notes, so I might as well start taking notes. Caliber. The 350 Le. Case. Win. All right, should we load up a few of the 170s or the 165s? They're 15 to 20 bucks and absolutely worth every penny. Bought all three, and yes, your seating stem stays. That's freaking sweet, dude. So you just, yeah, pull off the little screwy collet thing and slide the micrometer on and you're in business. Do they, I have a Redding one that's like a smooth movement, but then Hornady just came out with one that clicks. It's like click, 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 click for each, thousandth you want to adjust. Is the Lee one smooth or clicky? Not like it matters to me. I guess some people, if they're like, I need 3, woo, click, 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 then it helps them count or something. But to me, I like the smooth one on my Redding die, personally. They are smooth, no click. I think they're priced reasonably enough so a person could ultimately buy one for each cedar die. But they're easy enough to take on and off. Cool. Is it, sorry, with all the damn questions, so the original Lee cedar dies, they call it like the dead stop seating die or whatever, where you bottom out on your shell holder and cam over. Do those still do that, or you have to take into consideration your die body height to seating stem, if that makes sense? Oh, wait. Never mind, I'm an idiot. I just imagined you buy a different die with the micrometer. No, you put the micrometer on top of your existing die. Sorry, that's my misunderstanding. They have a very good feel. The marks are every thousandth clearly marked. That's pretty cool. I'll probably have to pick at least one up because I'm pretty sure on my 223 tool head over there, I still use the Lee cedar. So I'll probably throw a mic on that one. We'll have to see. For 15 or 20 bucks, it's probably worth trying. Delicious coffee at 2 a.m. Replaces the existing screw for a seating depth. Perfect. Sorry for the confusion. Thank you for clarifying, sir. Okay, this one goes back in the Starline box. I told you guys to remind me. All right. Should we do a few 170s or some 165s? And for later experimenting, try some 357s, which is technically within spec. But I'm not going to jump into that just yet. Absolutely. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for hey, thanks for stopping in, brother. You have a good night as well. Man, okay, so I was just saying how I like the old soft point, but there's something about these new polymer tips that are just dang purty, man. Like, don't that purty some? Let's do We must compare the inanimate objects. You can only choose one. Thankfully, we can choose both, but not today. What y'all thinking? You like traditional soft point or super technologically advanced hyperballistic tips? It is weird though that the ogive of the bullet are in such different places. Like they could have just kept that same profile and made one longer. That's kind of strange, right? Or maybe their internal construction is different. Let's look at the artwork, guys. So obviously those aren't the bullets. They're this shape with these tips, and neither of them have a cantilever, so this doesn't help us at all. And this they normally just use for their tubular magazines, like a lever action, so it really doesn't even need to be on an AR-15 style projectile, or for something that doesn't go into a tubular magazine like a lever action. So that's weird. Yeah, I guess just two different designs. They don't list the BC anywhere. We've got a tapered jacket for deep penetration and controlled expansion. The aerodynamic secant ogive delivers flat trajectories and great accuracy. The traditional bullet, medium to big game. Okay, let's talk about that. I saw a short earlier and someone was like, somebody was making fun of somebody for saying that the 350 Legend is a suitable elk cartridge. I'm gonna have to, we're gonna say no with you on that one there, Bob. That's a no, Bob. I'm gonna say the 350 Legend is not a suitable elk cartridge. But I'm pretty sure this is just generic box artwork, and they offer these bullets for every hunting round they produce, so I'm sure in the larger stuff that moves faster with proper energy is probably a medium to big game bullet choice. I don't know, man. A little misleading. Obviously, it's like the same style, but totally different cartridge, totally different construction. Especially because this is the only 35 caliber 355 bullet. You know, if this was just a, say, 30 caliber 180 grain, you can put that into, 308 Winchester and maybe push like 2500 if you're lucky, or you can put it in like a 300 Weatherby and go like 3500 or something ridiculous, right? Right? Like, I don't get it. Obviously, this bullet is different than the other interlocks. Right? They should have made new artwork for that specific bullet. Will that work for 30-06? Well, this specific one will not, but yeah, any of the Hornady interlocks, 30 caliber, probably 150 to 180 grain would be perfect for your 30-06. Can we show a bullet seating micrometer? Yeah, let me dig out my dies over here. Oh, golly. Sorry. Mr. Thomas Moore, thanks for joining. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. And Mr. Brandon, bullet seating micrometer. This is not the Lee. This is the Redding one I was discussing. So as you can see, you can adjust by 1,000th at a time. You get 50 thousandths per revolution. And these don't really mean anything. It's just kind of a starting index point. but since they do have a taper crimp built in, you have to start with your die body, touch the brass, and then back out about a turn, and then you'll have as much movement with your stem as you can get. If that makes sense. I probably just rambled for nothing. That's cool, thank you. Hey, no problem. No problem, sure. Luckily, it was right there. If I had to go digging for it, probably wouldn't have been so lucky. Haven't loaded rifle calibers yet, but I've loaded about 5,000 rounds of 45 Colt. Ooh, that's pretty sweet. What's your favorite 45 Colt bullet? I really enjoy a simple 255 grain semi-wad cutter. You can do the 200 grain semi-wad cutter, a little less kick, super light little poof. Those are fun too. But honestly, I don't have a ton of experience with 45 Colt. I've maybe shot a few hundred rounds of it, but definitely not 5,000. For a while, it was really hard to find brass or anything. And then I found a few hundred pieces and haven't shot a whole lot of it since then. Okay, so we got some of those expanded now. And we'll go for the cedar. And once again, I'm pretty sure this does not have a crimp built into it. And we can check that real quick, actually. Okay, yeah, definitely touching the brass, but here we go. Also, I'm pretty sure this is a horrible shape seating stem for the Legend. All right. So just a deep abyssal cavern. I feel like it scratched the jacket of my bullets last time I did this, but I can't recall. 200 grain semi wad cutter, 255 round nose flat point, and the Hornady 250 XTP. Nice. Starting to play around with the Ruger only loads for your Rossi R92. Man, I would love a lever gun in 45 Colt, or even 454 Casull, and then, well, depending on the length I can get the bullets to seat at, to feed properly, you could shoot 45 Colt out of it. All right. So, we're just going to do a few of these. Have any of you guys loaded the 350 before? We've got a new crowd here. I'm thinking of either H110 or Little Gun. What do you guys think? I'm quite the fan of H110. Son of a gun. Here, how about we try a loading block? So we can stand our cases up just like that. Wow, that's nice. I could probably clean some of this crap up. Reduce the clutter. Pardon me, one moment, please, folks. I need my note card, though. So we already discussed how bad I was at taking notes. Woo. I will make sure to put these over here awkwardly so they fall off the counter. That'll have to work. That'll have to work. Haven't had any issues with the Rossi. Dang, 5,500 rounds through it without issues. That is awesome. Is it actually chambered for 45 Colt, or is it like a 454 or a 460? And you just happen to shoot 45 Colt through it. But either way, 5,500 rounds, that's a lot. Come here. All right, looks like I've got 8 rounds to load. Let's just try the one that's, yeah, okay. We got more of these. We'll do that. Make it easy. Got a few more of those. It's chambered for 45 Colt. Cool. Do you happen to know the price difference between the 454 and the 45 Colt? Let me look at some powder here. Taking powder suggestions. Should we do the H110 or little gun? I actually, honestly, can't wait to run out of little gun so I don't ever have to say little gun ever again. Kind of a joke, but kind of serious at the same time. What press do you use? Sir, we have ourselves, let me see here, a Rock Chucker 2. It's an oldie but a goodie. Sorry, I can't show you the real action though. All right, type of 1 if we're using H110, type of 2 if we're doing little gun. Let me get him out of here, okay? Yeah. Type 1 for H110, type 2 for little gun. I honestly want to use this up so I run out of it. It's been decided unless someone can persuade me otherwise. 2. Brandon says 2. Good choice. Good choice. We're all on the same page here. Okay. Now if I could only locate this handy dandy reloading manual. Is it even in the lead book? I forget. 340 Winchester, 357 Magnum, 35 Remington, 350 Rem Mag. Well, shoot, let me get my Hornady manual. 45 Colt equals 833, the 454. Dang, that's significantly more. I do believe little gun should also provide a higher velocity. Ooh, Thomas is on number 2 also. All right, here we go. We'll take a look here. We'll do some looking up. See, H110 is giving us H110's maxing out at 26 grains at 2250, whereas little gun goes up to 27.6 grains with 2300 feet per second. And it's actually the same data for both bullets. Even though they're a different weight, they're pretty much like 2.5% difference in weight, which is probably not enough to matter. As long as you start low and work up, like you've heard before, right? I do have, yeah, we could also try Vitavori one day. We can try the 2400 and Enforcer. So we have some other options for some other time in the future. But for now, let me write it down. Little gun maxes out 27.6. 27.6, 27.6, 27.6. Max! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Too bad I won't be able to read my handwriting But little gun equals 27.6 grains max. Perfect. And we have the lighter projectile, so that couple percentage difference in projectile weight should not affect us if we were to go with the heavier one and start at the max charge, which would be silly. So we're going to go over here to the Charge Master. I'm going to dump in enough for 8 rounds. Hopefully that'll be enough to get sighted in with. Maybe I should do like 20 of them just to take out and have to get zeroed with and whatever. Have you guys used Lil Gun before? Don't they have some 45 Colt loads? Some of the heavier weight, higher pressure Ruger type loads? Don't they use Little Gun for some of those? I don't recall if I ever saw that in the data. All right, let's zero our scale and calibrate real quick. Yes, 0 cal, 50, add this 50 grams. Calibrate, 100 grams. Calibrate. Oh wow, so stable. Yay, Charge Master. Okay, 0 with the pan. And I'm definitely not going to use that maximum charge of 27.6. What should we do? 26 would be way low. I don't want to go way below. I kind of want to, get the real ballistics, but I don't want to start too high either. Pretty sure the Winchester brass is thicker, so that'll give me less capacity, which would increase our pressures compared to one with thinner brass. So, yeah, we're just going to do 26 grains and be safe. Load 26.0. There we go. Piece of cake. 26. Yeah, let me pour this here and I will show you if the little gun is a ball or extruded. How hard is IMR powder to get? It's impossible in Canada. IMR is the most expensive on the market and probably the least available of things that are still available, if that makes sense. Ooh, perfect. 26 grains. Good job, Charge Master. It is, in fact, a really tiny, flattened, flaky ball powder. Typing on my phone, not your keyboard mistype. All good, brother. I understand. Ooh, set that there. Don't spill it. I need a funnel. Dum-dum didn't get the funnel out. Also, if you guys have been looking for a funnel kit and you're like, man, that Area 419 shit's way too expensive. This thing's like 20 or 30 bucks, the Frankfurt Arsenal kit. And you get one funnel, but you get these different size bases depending on your diameter. Totally awesome. You can see how there's some powder dust residue kind of built up. No static clinging annoyingness or anything like that. So you just insert your proper diameter fitting. There we go. And it says 350 plus. This is probably the worst one to use an example for because it's beveled. But say, this 277 diameter has a square shoulder or a ledge there. So that sits right on the case mouth. Kind of balances itself. Whereas this one is larger. And if I'm going bigger than 35, I just take it off. And then this will fit on my Bushmaster or 45, whatever, larger stuff. So, yeah. Load one up here and we'll check our case fill. Trying to juggle all this stuff. Get this pouring our next charge real quick. I'll check the book for little gun for 45 Colt. Yeah, I'm not 100% if it is, but I feel like it's right in that burn range where it's suggested for the heavier stuff. So that's 26 grains. We probably have a little bit of wiggling room in there, but we'll see here shortly because I'm going to seat one. Let me see. Okay. I was just setting up the die. You got an RCBS rock chucker for Christmas, so you're learning a lot. This is great. Hell yeah, dude. I have an RCBS rock chucker. Well, this one's probably like 40 years old, but it does the same thing. So since it's a straight wall, you saw that we had to bail out the case mouth earlier. Now our projectile sits in that nice little pocket. We'll go to seat it. And eventually I'm going to get a modified case so I can use the overall length gauge and just see how far out we can actually seat these. But we're barely in there, just enough to grab it. Obviously that is not going to fit in mag length. So we've got a lot to do here coming down, and I need to find my calipers. Where did I put those? Oh. Always have your tools handy there, folks. H110 is very popular for Ruger only loads and little gun. I knew H110 was. That's one of the magnum handgun powders, if you will. I'm just guessing these need to be 2.25 to be AR mag length. So we're quite a bit longer there. See, if I had a micrometer, you could do some math and then dial it in pretty much to the thousandth. But I'm just doing huge, vague adjustments right now. 2, 3, 10, getting closer. And when you're setting up your seating die, I'll usually spread the love around a few different cases. So this one is 2.29. I want to get down to 2.25. I'll leave this one here until the end because you can see this ring it's creating every time we hit that seating stem. So if you can kind of spread the love when you're setting up your seating die, you won't be boogering up your first couple bullets. You can kind of dial it in as you go and then hit them all one more time at the end. Should be good. All right. Yep. Sorry, I have crap everywhere. I'm all discombobulated. And I have this awesome phone right here in the way. Same with long shot and tight group. Tight group is pretty much great for every single thing you don't need to cycle in a semi-auto. Like it works really well for reduced loads, and it also works pretty well near the upper end of the pressure abilities of your cartridge. Yeah. All right. So I didn't move at all. You can see we're still at 2.29. And we want to get to 2.25. I probably just turned too much. Let's back out of it. Oh, almost right on the dot. I'm actually going to leave that because mag length is 2.26. So with any variance, our bullets shouldn't have, 7/1000 of overall length variance. So I'm going to call that one good. And we'll touch up the first one real quick. See how close it looks. So you can see there is a few thousandths in overall length difference, and that's just because of this squishy tip here. And that's one of the issues you have when measuring with overall length compared to using a comparator on the ogive of the bullet. Because this datum line, you can see where the seating stem is hitting. That's going to be a lot more consistent than this piece of rubber that can get, misformed at any point of the process here. But yeah, those two are good. I didn't push go on the Charge Master. How do the modified cases work? All right. Quick demonstration. Let me find one. Where's the 308 at? Just because those bullets are easier to get to. Never mind, I have it all taped up. Okay. Come here. So, modified case. Let me grab a bullet real quick. We'll just stop our standard programming here for a nice demonstration on overall length. All right, so we have a modified case here. The neck is 1/1000th over the bullet diameter. You have the comparator tool, or rather the other end of the modified case. It's a stick that goes through here I can't get to right now. And what that'll do is allow you to push on the bottom of this bullet here. And what you're going to do is chamber this into your rifle. You take out your bolt and you push this up to where it starts head spacing on the shoulder. And then you push the bullet forward as far as it'll go and touch your rifling. And then you lock this mechanism back here to maintain that length. And then you'll see, this is your new maximum overall length before you're jamming into your rifling. So you can take an overall length measurement of that, and then you want to get a comparator measurement as well from the cartridge base to the ogive. Again, that's more consistent than an overall length measurement, where you could have inconsistencies with this hollow point or those plastic tips, for instance. So what that allows you to do, again, find your maximum overall length before you jam the rifling. And what that allows you to do is work backwards, doing seating depth tests to figure out where a nice accuracy node might potentially be. You can jump in like 10,000th increments going back. Some people go in like 3,000th increments, 2,000th increments. Sometimes you'll start, and if you find one little node, you'll go up a few thousandths under it, or you'll go above it a few thousandths, and you'll go under it a few thousandths. So then you can kind of find a window, and hopefully, as your throat erodes, you can lengthen your bullet back out to maintain that same distance from your rifling. Hopefully that made just a small amount of sense. But I'm kind of a dummy, not the biggest into the precision realm, so I probably misspoke, but that's the gist of it. And really, I've just historically found my maximum and then came back like 5,000ths. And if that shoots pretty well, then perfect. It'll chamber, it won't get it stuck, and it'll shoot a decent group for me. Gotta remember to start the charger. So remember, we did flare these out. We will have to come back and do a final crimp to remove any of that flare. But we'll check our overall length. And it's right back at the 225 like we wanted. And to demonstrate that it might not chamber, yeah, see how we're not fitting in the case gauge because that case mouth is slightly expanded before it hits where our headspace is. So we'll come back after we get all these done and I'll show you what the crimp will do. I wonder if they make a modified case for 303 British. Hornady probably does. That's who makes all of these. I know there's a couple other like custom smaller companies, but Hornady has several hundred of them you can choose from. I'm fairly certain they've got to have a 303 British, just based on its historical significance or whatever. Unless, this could be my ignorance, does the 303 British have several different diameter chamberings over time? Like, is there a 310 and a 314 and a 312? Is it all over the place? Or was it fairly consistent? Because for the Mosin Nagant, which was all over the place, anywhere from 308 to like 320, Hornady does not offer one because it's based on your projectile diameter. Does that make sense? So I say, yeah, they probably do, but if it's the same case as like the Mosin, then they will probably not if the neck diameter varies between the different versions of it and history and all that fun stuff. Here we go, 26 grades of little gun. And at first, not at first, but when I was beginning to reload, you know, the modified case is definitely not required. But if you're running a bolt action and you can play around with it, it's definitely something that's worth playing around with. Now, if you're just feeding your AR, then, you know, you're stuck at mag length. So there's not much you can do other than start at mag length, and you can work back a little bit. But even then, you're going to run out of, you know, bullet bearing surface before you seat too deeply. So there's that issue as well. So you can see if we're forced to start at mag length, which is what we're at, we only have this much room before that ogive starts getting stuffed into the case to move backwards. So, you know, if you're in an AR, a semi-auto, you have less options to play with your seating depth due to the mag length restriction. Nope, 311, same as 760 by 39. Well, that's good. That's nice and consistent. Because the dang Mosin is all over the place, and the one I have, I still haven't slugged, but it's apparently a very large diameter. I shot some 312 diameter, and that looked like a birdshot pattern from like 10 yards. Not impressive. but I just need to slug it and figure out what the real diameter is, because it has rifling. It's got a Mosin nice throat in it and all that, so it's not totally trash and rusted out, so it should work. Okay, that was I don't need to pour any more powder. That was my last case there. Yeah, so maybe these 9 will be enough to get zeroed in. Get on the paper. Yeah. And there we go. See, same seating depth setting on the die, but due to the overall length variances in the tips, we have about a plus or minus 10,000th seating depth in overall length just because of that plastic tip. Just to make sure I didn't, oh, well, yeah. Huh. I was just going to say, just to make sure I didn't change the setting, I was going to run the first couple through, but I just touched the stem and it's wiggling like I didn't actually lock it in and tighten it. So that's excellent. That's really good. Good job, dummy. Okay. And an easy way to do that is with your case and bullet and everything ran up in the die. Use that to hold your die while you barely snug it up with your wrench. Okay. I'm going to hit these real quick and then we'll come back to do a final crimping. And there we go. Okay, perfect. Let me put this crap away before we get to the crimping, which again, I'm going to use the Lee factory crimp die with the collet and not the MSR style taper crimp for reasons of headspace we discussed earlier. Okay, so once again, just a quick demonstration of why we need to crimp. Those case mouths are opened up, thus not allowing to chamber. So we have to squeeze that case back down, not into the bullet, not, squeezing the jacket, nothing like that, just enough to close the flare up so that we can chamber properly. And with that, I prefer the Lee Collet Factory Crimp Die. After I get the seating die back out. Mr. Ethan, what's up, sir? Top 3 favorite guns. I really like my one AR-15, and then I really like my other AR-15, and I really like my new backpack AR-15 too. That one's really fun. And then I really, really, really like, well, less than the backpack gun, I really am enjoying the new to me CMMG 22 LR conversion kit. So that one's fun. It's cheaper, but really dirty, right? 22 LR's dirty. No one ever told me how dirty that stuff was. But it's apparently dirty. Squeezing the neck. Right, so with most rifle cartridges that actually have a bottleneck, let me grab something else here for demonstration here. Here we have a bottleneck cartridge, a 30-30. Whoa. And it has a neck. This has straight wall all the way down, so it's just a body. We have to flare the mouth of this just like we would a pistol bullet or cartridge like 9mm. You got to open up your case mouth a little bit. so that bullet can sit in there without scraping off any of your jacket or anything like that. All right. Come on. Come on. Ooh, yeah, okay. A little bit. Was that little bit enough? Not quite. See, we're almost there. Just a bit more. I really dislike the new Lee lock ring, though, if I've never said that. Oh, it's so close. It didn't plunk, and it's barely sticking. So close. One more little. Let's try a different case. Oh yeah, did you hear it? Gauge is probably dirty, but yeah, it falls right in. Plunk, that's the plunking sound. And it pretty freely moves. Well, if I didn't have case lube gummed up in there, it would work really well. It does work well, see? Yes. That is how we remove our flare properly. Now, you can barely see, probably can't with my potato camera, but there's a small ring, a couple thousandths under the mouth there, and that's where the collet actually squeezes. Make sure I get my lock ring set. Oh yeah, very nice. And actually, this is an ammo checker versus the case length gauge. So these are essentially at this step doing the same test, but I use this one to make sure the overall length of the case, because it has this little shelf to measure. I use that when I'm setting up my, when I'm prepping my brass, I like to use this to make sure it is in the proper spec. This one is meant to check your ammo that it will chamber. This one also checks your ammo, but yeah. Long story short, redundant tools. Except this one's better at both brass prep and checking at the end. And it's the minimum tightest spec you can get too, so a little bit tighter than just the ammo checker. Funnel shape for seating and then put it back afterwards. That is correct, sir. Spot check. Oh yeah. Heck yeah, man. These are looking good. Oh yeah. There we are. Right in and right out. Let's actually see how these fit in the magazine. How many can we get in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this the dang 10 rounder? Holy moly, boys. Ooh. No, it's about 6 or 7 or 8 maybe. It is plastic, so the feed lips are starting to kind of spread out, but it looks like, what is that? A loaded 9. I've got 2 in my hand, so that's 7 plus 1. I don't think that's what it's designed for, but that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Wow. I bet the 10 rounders can probably hold 12 or 15 then. Wow. High capacity right there, brothers. Yeah, and you can't go straight down. You got to come in and go back. Okay. Yeah, I'll leave those there for a second. I can't show you on the tubes, but we're going to try to cycle one. Yep. Whee. Yep. Balls. Yep. Dropping stuff. Only slightly awkward, but this is human error. I've never ran around through this before. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Cool. No extra scratches or gouges or maybe a little booger there from that feed ramp. That's probably because I just freaking dummy handled it and rammed them in there, but I'm sure if we took our time, get it broken in a little bit, get my technique down, you know, then we'd be in business. Also, I just picked up the Lee hand press so I can load in the winter. Loading setups in your garage, it's not heated. You don't want to load in minus 30 Celsius. Holy crap. Sir, that's a little bit cold. Have you perhaps tried a kerosene heater? Not sure how helpful that would be in minus 30 Celsius. Might help. But yeah, the hand press, you can easily do brass prep, and they actually make a RAM prime and all that stuff for that. So you can pretty much do everything on your couch. You'll just have to do a little extra work. Or Lee makes the really small, not the Challenger press, but that's a good one. They make a smaller little C-frame, they call it. You could probably set that on like an old wooden bar stool or something, and then just have that set up at your couch or your office chair, wherever you want to reload inside. Boom! But I believe that is going to wrap it up for us today, folks. It's almost 3 a.m. and I got a bunch of stuff to do at 8 a.m. So we're going to head out for now. In my opinion on nickel cases, they look pretty. They slide and function pretty smoothly, but they seem to split earlier than a normal brass case would, and they're more brittle. So when you're trimming them, you can definitely feel that. Mr. Brandon, sir, you have a good night as well. But yeah, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to eventually upload this to the secondary channel, maybe chop it up into a different video with the actual camera view of loading and whatnot, having fun. So maybe stay tuned for that if I can get around to it, hopefully one day. But thanks for hanging out. You new guys, let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to ask whatever. There's always more people here than I am capable of answering questions. More knowledge is here than I can provide. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. You guys have a happy new year, and we will see you guys in the next video or live stream. So have a good one. See you.